What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here for Flood Magazine. Thank you guys for tuning in to watch us. Please be sure to like this content, share it, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you spread the word. Because today we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by the incredible, phenomenal, and legendary Morris Day. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Hey, thanks for that lead in. I like that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've accomplished so much, incredible things going on, and still have a lot going on. And I just have millions of questions for you. But one thing that I always find interesting, your fondness for drawing early in your life.
Well, I guess, if you are an artist, that can manifest in a lot of different ways. And for me, early on, it was drawing. At one point, I drew my own comic book. I had a superhero called Otis the Magnificent. And, I would draw out the whole thing, man. And, it was just in my blood. And then the music started taking over. And then I got introduced to the drums, and it was just on from there.
And with drumming, then getting into singing, where did you get because drummers, as great as they are, typically are in the back, as you're well aware. So
Yeah.
where and how did the confidence and the wherewithal go from being the drummer to taking that leading role?
Well, I think a lot of times, talent-wise, drummers are diamonds in the rough because, you got Phil Collins, you got Maurice White, you got Jeffrey Osborne, you got, what's my guy, the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl. I mean, just so many drummers, are sitting back there with so much talent. And I'm not saying it's wasted on the drums, but drummers are talented people usually, and the talent usually goes way beyond what you see.
Well, as evidenced by your career. But one thing that I was always intrigued too about the self-titled debut album from the time was the juxtaposition of after high school and cool being back to back.
Yeah.
Because high school was about all these things you wanted to do, and then cool was about having all these mansions, dancing in Rome,
Yeah.
different residences.
Yeah.
So from a creative and from a sequencing side of things, how did those songs, do you think, work back to back on the Time album?
Well, I guess when you think about it, after high school should have come first, right? I was always told that you had to put the bass heavy songs, because we're talking LPs, vinyl now, early on the vinyl, because the closer it gets to the center, the less bass response you're going to get. So, a lot of it had to do with sonics more than the sequencing itself.
Well, that's very interesting that back then we would have to think of the structure of a record based on the grooves of a vinyl.
Yeah, that's right. But that's what it was, man.
Well, that leads me to another thing, because on the first 3 Time albums, it always was intriguing to me that there were only 6 songs on each album. So
Yeah.
why did you guys only have 6?
Well, that's just kind of something that Prince came up with. He said, we only gonna give him 6, and we just kind of stuck with that theme. Now, interestingly enough, today that would be considered an EP, but back then we were able to call it an LP.
And at that point, even going into the What Time Is It album, since you were then emerging as the frontman, the vocalist, all this stuff, what role, if any, did you still have on the percussion side of things?
Well, I played drums on pretty much all the songs on the first 2 albums. And then after that, it started to taper off. We started to use more of the band, but the nucleus of the songs on the first 2 albums started out basically with me and Prince, bass and drums, and building the songs from there.
How did you guys differentiate the roles early on then?
Well, Prince was always in control. That was his thing. He's like, we're going to do this pretty much my way. And, I would get a word in edgewise every now and then, a little bit of creativity. But that was one of the things that led to us eventually kind of having, a rift between us, because at that time, I was young, creative. I had a lot of music in my blood that I really wanted to express. And I wasn't getting an opportunity to do it.
Gotcha. Now, also with what time is it? The beginning when you first say that, that's been sampled so many times in rap songs in particular. So back in '82, were you really familiar with rap? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Like, well,
I mean, when we came out, I mean, that was pretty much right off the heels of the Sugar Hill Gang. So it was very new, early '80s. You know, it was very new, and you know, I thought it was cool. I gotta admit, I didn't think it would stay around as long as it did back when it was first coming out, because we were all about songs. You know, you got to have your verse, your hook, your bridge. You know, and then on from there, and a lot of times, you know, rap songs, they don't necessarily go anywhere musically, and it's all about the beat, straight ahead, and the lyrics. And so, you know, that was just something totally new for me.
as time goes on, and of course, you've performed and been with so many artists, rappers in particular, and with the the head rush with Snoop Dogg's team and different things. It's just I know how much, and you do too, just how much rap embraced both your solo material as well as with the time. And what do they tell you that they loved about you so much?
You know, I just think it's the swag, man. You know, I just think a lot of guys dig what we do. You know, they dig the way we look, the way the lyric content, the attitude, and all of that. So, you know, I think that that's what a lot of the rappers, you know, like that's what I think Snoop, you know, dug about us.
I did always think it was interesting and fun, especially as time goes on, listening to kind of how you would have those talk breaks, and they were almost like little rap sessions in the songs. So, do you remember how, and why you guys decided to do those?
Just little vignettes, you know, we thought would be interesting to do, you know, just trying to do something different, and, you know, add some visuals for the brain, you know, little something to feed off of, you know, just to kind of get through, you know, and express ourselves. You know, we take that and take the meaning of the song to another level by putting the little vignettes in there.
And with the different layers of what you guys had with the songs, with the walk, I always look at that as a precursor of sort to the bird, maybe. So, did you guys find any inspiration or look back to the walk at all, or no?
You know, the walk, maybe. I mean, I think the walk, you know, was a way of us, you know, inventing a dance, and you know, and so you might be right about that, you know, because you know when we do the bird, it's like, oh, you want to learn a brand new dance, and you know, we already taught you to walk, so yeah, now we're going to teach you how to fly.
Well, there you go. The thing that I've always found so incredible about Minneapolis in particular, and what you guys did, and maybe I'm just not aware, but Chicago or Memphis or New York or even Los Angeles had some semblance of record labels, record industry, something already existing that was built. So where did that confidence or that belief come from when you guys are in Minneapolis? You're not in one of these hubs of recording prior to you guys getting in it like that.
Yeah, I guess it just came from, you know, just some strong creative, you know, individuals. You know, Prince was, you know, you know, when we started back when we were in Grand Central, when we had our little band, he said he already had 100 songs written in his little binder. And, you know, it was just like that. We were just creative. And we were able to pull off, you know, our own sound, you know, off of listening to whatever the Chicago sound, Detroit, New York, you know, but we were able to establish our own. And, you know, I attribute that to just creative, you know, some creative genius going on.
And uh, given that the time continued growing, what made it that the third album ended up being the one that went platinum, that ended up having more smash singles, would you say?
I think the songs just started getting better. Um, I mean, not that they weren't good. And then, you know, well, the main factor was, to be real with it, was the movie Purple Rain. I mean, you got a blockbuster movie, and you got two of your biggest songs on the album on there, you know, and so the exposure was just through the roof on that one.
Exposure wise, explain, as somebody that had gold records, who had done all these touring, all these performances, what's the difference for the outside people looking in? What is the difference?
Oh, it's a huge difference. I couldn't even turn on the radio, pop radio, R&B radio, whatever it was, without hearing, you know, our songs. So it was crazy. You know, got to the point where, you know, for a minute, you know, I couldn't really leave the house. You know, I couldn't go anywhere without somebody, you know, recognizing me.
So is that something that you wanted and then were disappointed when you got it, or how did that affect you?
You know, I thought it was cool for a minute, but then one time I was taking my daughter to Disneyland, and we ended up running out with like 50 kids chasing us out. So, you know, I was like, you know, I don't know how much I'm feeling this right now, because now it's gotten to a point where you can't go anywhere. So it was like that for a hot second, and you know, it tapered off, and you know, I'm glad it did, but I'm glad to be able to say that I experienced that level. But I'm glad to say that I'm happy where it is right now.
Now, when you're going to Disneyland, are you wearing the zoot suits, the fly suits, and the hair all up? And so it's like you're still in your video or on stage?
Now, you know, I had a scaled down version of that, you know, maybe some baggies and a, you know, some pimp shoes and a nice shirt, you know, but, you know, not too over the top.
Well, that was always one thing I thought was hilarious about the walk, the easy access.
Okay. Zip, snap, and drop.
Yes, always funny. But with the success as you launched your solo career, I also wanted to get the difference of that as somebody that is writing, that is producing, that is creating. What difference did you see making solo records versus doing it with the time?
Usually I had Prince to fall back on, or someone, you know. So it was very interesting, you know, and to have all the weight on my shoulders. But, you know, I dug it creatively, you know, because at the end of the day, I said I could do whatever I want to do. And that's what I did.
Fair enough. And as I saw in the unsung, and as I knew from knowing your story to the degree that I do, I always am curious about the when the lack of confidence and the depression kicks in, because you're clearly so talented and you've had all this success. Did you uh, get into depression because of the sales not being there, or the fame, or because you're still you haven't lost being you? You know, you are the man. So
Well,
why,
yeah,
what
well,
happened?
I appreciate that. No, I did. I just think I got burnt out. And you know, and I got in this shell where I didn't really want to leave the house. And you know, I went through a stint with the drugs, and of course that was in the past at that time. But I just, you know, I just kind of lost it, and you know, I had my young kids, and you know, I kind of wanted to embrace that. So I was torn between that and being out there, and you know, I just kind of took a break.
Hmm. And then where did it regenerate, and how?
Well, I kind of bottomed out, man, you know, where I just stopped doing everything, pretty much lost everything, sitting in my sister's little 1-bedroom apartment. And I got a call from a friend, Ron Sweeney, and he's like, man, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, why don't you put the band back together? And it's like, why didn't I think of that? A light bulb went off. So I started calling the fellas. You know, next thing I know, we were in rehearsal. Next thing I know, we took a show or two, and the next thing, the phone was ringing off the hook, and just been on from there, man.
Well, it's definitely been a remarkable ride. And I imagine quarantine affected some of your plans, but what do you have coming up now that Unsung is out, and you got all these other things that you had been working on prior to quarantine?
Well, you know, we got new music coming out. About to release I don't know if you're gonna call it an EP or LP or what it is, but we're coming out with a whole new project. Head Rush is the first real single off of it. And, you know, we got, you know, of course, we've got the book,
Yeah.
On Time, A Princely Life in Funk, available at Amazon and all of the outlets. And, you know, just a lot of things, you know, a lot of things going on, you know, just we can't stop, you know, we can't let quarantine hold us down.
Nor should you.
No, it should be.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
Oh, man, I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you. It's an honor talking to you, man, and thank you, and just congratulations, and glad to see you still putting out the music, man. I've been listening and loving it for a long time, as I hope you could tell.
My man, appreciate it.